What's up, guys? DC here, alongside with Chris Dickinson. Gonna do a little interview ski from my basement. Where are you at? I'm in Riverside, rotting in the basement.
I'm in fucking Killer Hills, 10304, rotting in my hole.
So this is an unexpected turn of events over the last couple of weeks, huh?
I'd say so, yeah.
Do you want to? I don't know. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you in particular is because I thought you had a lot of poignant things to say at the conclusion of the GCW Acid Cup. Congratulations on the victory. But obviously, as we talked about earlier today, you weren't really cutting a promo. You were just speaking from the heart. Go into detail about kind of what you were expecting in terms of the bookings you had coming up, the international opportunities, the matches that were set for Wrestlemania, what the foreseeable future looked like for Chris Dickinson before the pandemic struck.
I mean, everything's been going so good. I mean, that's the reason why I guess everything kind of hurts a lot. It hurts pretty hard, or has been pretty tough to deal with. We've talked about this pretty much. A lot going on. I was in a span of 1 week, I was going to wrestle 13 times. I mean, I physically was preparing myself for that. The other night, I wrestled 3 times, and I felt like I could have wrestled 3 more times. I've just been mentally preparing myself, physically preparing myself for that. And you want to talk about, you want to get real about it. The money is a big part of it. And, I was relying on a lot of that money going forward. We had plans with the wrestling school. We had plans for uncharted territory. I was going to move back up to Massachusetts. And, now all that is indefinitely frozen. So that's money that's not going to be coming in. And all the money I was going to make WrestleMania week is not going to be there. So,
Even before WrestleMania week, you were going to be going to the West Coast.
I've had book. Listen,
You're going to be going to Mexico.
I took 2 weeks off in March to be able to just train and focus on getting myself prepared, because the last week, I was going to Mexico, LA, I was going to the UK, and I was going down to Tampa. And it was all like, bigger bookings and big matches where, a lot is requested of you. And like I said in my promo speech the other night, I feel like you're only as good as your last match. So I don't, there's no such thing as not giving 100% or not delivering it. Every time you got to go hard. So, I was looking forward to it, and it's all just been kind of like, whoosh. So
I think one of the things to especially consider in your situation is, you have the guys like Effie or Danhausen or Warhorse that have the theme shows, and obviously they're going to be keeping, they were going to be keeping a busier schedule for WrestleMania week than they had in previous years. But it all kind of fell into the same category. And I think what's interesting about the matches and the opportunities that you had is that you were going to be appearing on shows across the board. And, if their purpose was to bring levity to the weekend or, to shine a spotlight on a specific niche of the community, you were kind of the anchor for the wrestling.
Yeah, that's my goal. That's always been my goal. That's always been why I got into wrestling, was to be a good wrestler, to be perceived as the work rate wrestler, the workhorse wrestler. That's just what I'm into. Now, regardless, I mean, it's not exactly what I want, what I want to be and who I want to be. That's kind of just like a general idea. But yeah, I was put into positions to have the best matches and against the best opponents, So, everybody knows my style is more of a Japanese style. And I was paired up against Japanese wrestlers. I mean, it's only fitting. Now, opportunities like this, matches like this, on shows like this, these matches just stick out. They do. Whoa, he's going to wrestle this guy, that guy. And the real disappointing part about it, forget about the money, is the fact, obviously, that somebody like me, I in particular, I worked my whole life to get to this point where the whole thing is basically geared around all these different matches I'm going to have, and people are really interested in it. And it's really fun. It's really fun. It feels really good to be looked at as like that guy that could, I guess you could say, carry the torch of that side of the business and go out and produce those matches against those talents. But, and that's a part of it where the opportunities, I'm sure, in other ways will present themselves again. Nobody did anything wrong. It wasn't like everybody's a victim here. So, I mean, it sucks that it's not going to happen in the way it was going to happen, because it was like grand fashion. It was almost like too crazy. But I mean, it's just not the way it's going to work out. Now it's literally it's about just everything else in life that's going on. Real life is the real thing. We are all in this. I said this to you earlier. I mean, as much as somebody like me, I like to live outside the box. I don't really mingle too much with regular society stuff on a daily basis. It's not really my thing. That's why I think I got into wrestling, because I want to be in an unconventional business and I want to live an unconventional life. It's just who I am. We have no choice but to be a part of what's going on right now. It's because it's affecting everybody. You know what I mean? It's the world is not normal. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on here in New York City is going on in Australia. I mean, we all are affected by this. Everybody has to do the same thing in order to take the proper measures to be able to limit the amount of people that could be infected by this virus. And it's getting scary. I mean, I told you earlier, one of my ex-girlfriend's grandmothers, she's probably not going to make it. My friend Dom's brother's girlfriend's grandfather just died yesterday. He had coronavirus. It's a reality.
Well, that's obviously, I mean, while we're down, let's, I'm just going to come out and ask it. If you had to project how much money realistically do you think you're out over even just the foreseeable month between what you had with California, Mexico, UK, and then coming back for WrestleMania, between booking fees and merchandise?
I did the math like a couple of weeks ago because I knew I was going to get fucked. So I started doing the math just to be miserable, to look at the number. So figure I was going to get paid a lot more to do the Crash show. Thank you, Crash. Crash is great. Let's put that in there. Boom. Okay, plus here. Let's just say merchandise. Let's go with the minimum of like, I don't know, $200 per show. I probably wouldn't sell any merchandise at the Crash show, maybe. I don't know. Think about the California one, which apparently is heavy. PCW is heavy with merch. Add another, plus the UK, add 400. So far, before I even go to, and listen, nobody ever talks about how much money they make or gives numbers. I'm not trying to brag. I'm being honest with you.
And I'm not trying to get you to divulge any private information either. I'm saying an estimate so that
just
people
off
have an idea.
Before I even get to Tampa, I'm probably already losing $1,700 before I even get to Tampa. So then you do the math. Plus, I mean, 9 matches.
Plus the merchandise opportunities.
Plus at least that's grand.
A conservative estimate, at least $5,000.
I'd say I was going to lose probably around $6,000. If I was going to go low. If I didn't sell that much merchandise, I'd probably lose around $6,000, around $580, if you really want to be specific about it.
And then that doesn't include, obviously, the opportunities wrestling somebody like Shingo that's active in New Japan right now, wrestling somebody like Minoru Suzuki, who I believe when you went over for GCW in Japan, you visited him in his shop. You guys were looking forward to the match. He knows who you are. You guys are talking about it, whatever doors that could have potentially opened. Prior to what happened, obviously not related to the pandemic, but more politically related as far as what happened with Sonny Ono and Muta being pulled out of the match. But, that's probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And then Takeda with the connections with Freedoms and Big Japan. Right. It's not very often that your entire career has been based around the fact that you want to break into Japan. And I know how grateful you were that you had the opportunity to do so with GCW. And I know that I can just say with confidence that when wrestling is back to normal, you will be off to the races as far as Japan goes. But even then, it's like, when you go to Japan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like you're almost like assigned to an office, and then through them they handle your bookings. Is it still like that over there?
Well, when I went to Japan, I mean, really the main reason why I went to Japan, I mean, GCW is really over in Japan. I saw that firsthand myself. I was almost a little overwhelmed. I couldn't believe how over GCW was. But it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the wrestling company Freedoms. So Freedoms is technically who got me personally, and everyone else, but me, my work visa to go to Japan and wrestle. So technically, I worked for Freedoms too when I went to Japan. And I worked for 01. and I worked for a company called Dove Pro. But Freedoms was responsible for getting me my work visa, which is technically still active, but it's useless because I can't go to Japan anyways. So it's expired in May. Yeah, no, the opportunities are huge, and now the money. I mean, listen, I don't know about everybody laughing out there. Oh, for $5,000, whatever. $6,000 is a lot of money to me. Okay, I could stretch that out. You know what I mean? I fly solo. I don't have kids. I don't have.
I don't know a lot of people that make that kind of money in less than a month.
Whatever, you know.
You know what I mean?
Forget about it. We got to divulge our business, but we know how much money we make with Beyond Wrestling, and that being frozen indefinitely. I mean, listen, I could be honest. I'll be completely honest. You know it. If everything else was gone, I could just survive off of Beyond Wrestling. I could. So Beyond Wrestling being frozen indefinitely that's even fucking, it's fucked. You know, whatever. We don't got to talk about it because we talk about it 24/7.
Well, I mean, but that's why we're doing this interview for other people to watch without going into too much information. I mean, I reached out to the American Rana venue today. We were supposed to give them a financial deposit. I signed the paperwork about 10 days ago, and they had said by March 31st, you know, we want the first of 2 deposits. The second deposit can be fulfilled the day of the show, and the remainder can be paid after the event, which is actually very nice for a venue. But it's a scenario where it's like, I hit them up. Hey, do you guys still want the deposit? No, we're going to hold your date regardless. But, you know, what's the point of collecting the money right now? And that's the thing that's so frustrating is the uncertainty of it. Obviously, the stuff with sports entertainment experience and having the building in Pawtucket went up in smoke. And it seemed like, you know, we've done so much business with White Eagle that it seemed inconceivable that something could happen that would prevent us from going, you know, and being able to operate a school from that location, be able to come back with uncharted territory. It seemed like the most stable option. And lo and behold, obviously something like this happens, which nobody's prepared for, nobody can predict. And that becomes frustrating because, you know, part of their business relies on our business to operate, but a large percentage of their business is just they're a bar. And right now, they're not allowed to open, and the soonest would be April 17th. And now it seems that people are kind of realizing the gravity of the situation, and weeks are becoming months. You know, can a business like that sustain for that long of a period of time? And, you know, does that force us to have to push back the school opening? Does the school even have an opportunity to open at that point? You know, do we scrap the entire season of uncharted territory? You know, do we try and come back for American Rana? Is American Rana to, you know, July 26th, the date? Is that too soon? But at the same time, the world spins. You know, I set a date for a Boston venue in conjunction with SummerSlam. Is that going to happen? I don't know. So it's like, it's cool that places are still trying to do business and there seems to be better understanding without the money necessarily having to change hands. But it's so difficult to make plans. And it's like, yeah, I'd love to put tickets on sale for Uncharted Territory Season 3 and say with 100% certainty that April 30th, we're going to be ready to go for the next 13 weeks. But I'm not holding on to anybody's money until we know that for sure. And right now we don't.
You cannot make plans for anything. I saw some, you know, I sent you that message. The kid was like, "How do you know it's going to happen until July? How do you not know this isn't going to go on until July?" Let's be realistic here. We have no idea.
Right.
And you saw how naive I was for weeks. The last 2 weeks, I was like, this ain't going to be that bad. Oh, they can't cancel WrestleMania. Oh, they can't do this. And I'm telling you, once I saw the NBA was done, I was like, oh, God, it's over. Where it's just going to be a domino effect. And, I mean, shit, I sat in a hotel room with Pinky and Joey, and Joey just had us – I don't watch the news. So Joey had us watching CNN for like 2 days. I mean, yeah, the media sucks. The news sucks. You don't know what to believe. But, like, the picture that's painted right now is grim. And it's like that fucking phrase that keeps getting thrown around, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like, we're not, like, anywhere near probably even the middle of the road here. You know, we're still in, like, the opening stages of this whole fiasco. And we're going to have to get used to living like this for a little while. Unless there's some kind of miracle or they develop a vaccination and it comes. I mean, this is like a real life. There's a Sega CD game, Snatcher. It's like, this is like Snatcher. This is like 12 Monkeys. This is like this is like Resident Evil. This is like some biohazard shit that is like real, and we could absolutely contract it and get sick. And the problems now. It's almost like, of course, it's okay to be selfish because we all have our own things. Everybody's affected by this. I think it's okay to complain.
Absolutely.
I'm a complainer anyways. So I think it's cool to complain, but the truth is like these are like this is like a day-to-day like real life thing that we have to worry about, just essential needs at this point.
Right. And to your point, some I've seen some criticism online. Some I agree with, some I don't agree with. But the thing is the situation changes day to day. So even the information that we had probably less than a week ago when the plan was put into place, when GCW scrapped the shows in the Midwest, to run the Acid Cup, to even the information that we know now, I mean, it kind of does seem unlikely that even sort of underground no fan events will be taking place in the United States, at least for the foreseeable future. I think that this was the weekend, and now we know so much more than we did even the previous weekend. There's probably not going to be any plans to do that. But you said you were with Joey, you were with Pinky, you were in the hotel for the duration of the Acid Cup taping. What was that experience like? Was it somber? Was it upbeat? Was it kind of like Beyond Wrestling, since you were one of the few that's been a part of Beyond Wrestling from the start? So to go into that environment, kind of talk me through what happened behind the scenes at the Acid Cup.
No, if you want me to be completely honest, I was dying on the inside. Like, how do you think I feel? It's like, God, I'm used to going to work every week now, and this is what and it's like, oh man, I've wrestled in front of no fans a billion times. We started Beyond Wrestling. That's like how we started, and it's like I kept saying to myself, man, the more things change, just they're still the same. Like like it all goes full circle. Everything's full circle, and the first night I was definitely just gutted. I didn't. Me and Pinky, we didn't even call anything. I mean, and that's fine. We've done that before. We've wrestled each other enough at this point, and it's the first round of a tournament. You know, I'm not looking to go out there in the first round and give away everything. That's just me. But I was not happy. And the second night, then we spent the night in the hotel, and then it's these are two guys that I've basically grown up with. I mean, Janela and Pinky, these are guys I've known. We're talking like 10 plus years at this point. Guys that we've been at the very bottom with in nothing and grown with. And it's, who knows you as your wrestling self better. And you're not, at this point, I'm not a wrestling self. This is who I am. I am Chris Dickinson. So who knows Chris Dickinson better than somebody like Joey Janela, And sitting there and we're just discussing how ridiculous this all is, laughing at the fucking stupid looking reporters on the TV. They all look like psychopaths, and just trying to make sense of what's going on, trying to enjoy ourselves and have a good time. And then the second night, the second day I was a little bit more upbeat because I knew what I had. I knew what was going on. I felt it at that point because they also told us the first night that we broke the record of people watching. So I knew that there was a lot of people watching. So at that point, you just got to realize, like, there's people that are invested in this. I'm going to wrestle 3 times tonight. I have to do my absolute best. And I was actually talking to Tyson today, Jaka, my tag partner from the Doom Patrol, for anyone who doesn't know who that is. My friend Tyson. I was talking to Tyson earlier. We talked for like almost 2 hours. And I hadn't talked to him in a while. And obviously I needed to talk to him because we haven't talked. I had a dream about him last night. So I was like, I put myself in the mindset where like it was like kind of like the last year at Evolve. It was miserable, and I didn't really like anything that was going on. But at the end of the day, like I'm just the type of person where I don't quit. I'm not gonna quit. I'll put my head down and I'll just do what I have to do, and I'll work really hard regardless of the circumstances, because people have expectations of you, and when you set the bar high of what the expectations are, you have to deliver. It's bigger than you at that point, and you have a responsibility to people to deliver, and not just to people. You have a responsibility to yourself. To myself, I do, because I love wrestling, and even in that moment, it's not that like I don't want to be there. It's not that like I'm pissed off. I'm just sad. I'm just sad at the circumstances here. I mean, think about like how many people we were going to wrestle in front of. Think about the opponents. Think about the crowd reactions. I feed off of the audience. My performances and the shit I do in the ring is all based around the crowd's reaction. And
Well,
just trying.
let me touch on this real quick. Did you have a hand in helping to format the way that the actual taping? Well, it wasn't a taping; it was broadcast live. But did you have a hand in formatting how the Acid Cup was executed?
No, I just suggested that everybody hang out around the ring and respond to the action taking place like Beyond Wrestling. I said if you weren't getting dressed or if you weren't on deck, just try to, be a part of it as it's going on, because I mean that's how we used to do it, and it wasn't as it, it was fun. I had a good time, but like I said, the circumstances sucked.
Well,
These
from
fucking
an outside perspective looking in, there was a noticeable difference between night one and night two in terms of both the atmosphere of the event and the match quality. And I don't think it's coincidental that it seemed like the wrestlers were more lively, and therefore the people in the ring performing at the time had more to feed off of to give a more connected effort. And that was one thing that was always, we were criticized back in the day. Oh, wrestling's all about making money. You have to have a live audience. And it wasn't that we didn't have an audience. It's just that the audience was the other wrestlers. And it seemed like for the second day, there was kind of a more cohesive presentation, which elevated the entire event. I don't know if you experienced that while you were there. Also, something to consider is, again, with it being broadcast live, with you guys preparing for your matches and such, I don't know if everybody was on their phone for the first night, seeing all the feedback that was coming immediately. That doesn't often happen during the
No,
wrestling
I
event
know I
itself.
wasn't. I wasn't because I was trying to pay attention to everybody's matches.
Right.
The second night, obviously, it was a little bit more difficult because I had to wrestle multiple times. So it's not like I could like be done and then watch someone's match. I mean, I could like pick up things that are going on. But the first night, out of respect, because it was like Beyond Wrestling, out of respect for some of the younger guys or the people who are, who are looking for opportunities, even though we don't even know what opportunities are going to present themselves anymore. I'm going to watch some of the younger guys do their thing because it's fun. It's not often I get to stand at the ring and watch people do this stuff in that setting, and I used to love it. I love it. I love being a fan. Before anything, I love screaming and busting balls and heckling. So, yeah, the first night I watched, and I was impressed with a lot of these guys. They're
But
all
you
good.
think that between the first night and the second night, then being able to find out, oh, it did record numbers on IWTV, being able to check your Twitter feed after the event and seeing
I'm
how
sure
much
that
feedback.
was definitely a motivational point to it, was that obviously people were donating money. It was like, wow, people are actually paying attention to this. Because you got to understand, man, everybody's beat up. Everybody's down and not like feeling, you know what I mean? Like, I know I was, dude. I walked into that building the first night and I was like, fuck. And maybe some of the younger guys, not so much. I wish I was still in that position. Think about how we started Beyond Wrestling. Think about the first couple of matches I had at Beyond Wrestling. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. I was just there to do it as much as is humanly possible to impress someone. So I mean, I love that energy. I love that energy because it's just raw. It's real. And I started saying to myself, like, all right, let's be realistic here, especially the second night. I'm probably not going to wrestle again for months. So you better get it going here. And and also, there's no knock on Pinky. We didn't call anything. We didn't even fucking put together a finish. We just go out there and we do it. And I hate giving away the secrets or whatever, but that's just the way it is. Whatever. It's just me and you talking. Like the second night, when I started talking with Alley Cat, and I was like, okay. Then my creative juices start flowing, and because someone like that, think about like all the girls I've wrestled and that whole side of my career, I guess, that that's a thing of me having intergender wrestling matches, and it's like, well, I got to be there 100% for that girl because I want to make her look good. Because you make somebody like that look good, it only makes you look better. That's same shit over the years that we've just been preaching, and you can't. No matter how you feel, and it's like I talked about Evolve that last year, just going into some of that stuff, just being like, ugh, this is terrible. I have a responsibility to my opponent. I have a responsibility to the fans that are there and that are interested in what's going on. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to get the job done. But I was into that second night. I was feeling it. I loved my matches. I liked my match a lot with Alley Cat. I liked my match a lot with Shane Mercer. And people seem to really think that the match with Blake was good. And I like Blake so much. The first time I saw Blake, obviously everybody raves about he does some cool stuff in the ring. He is athletic and he's got some cool moves. What impressed me the most was just the way he does a clothesline, the little basic things. It's like, okay, I immediately was able to tell from watching him months ago when I first saw him. I was like, oh, that guy, he has solid fundamentals, and he's more than just a guy that could do some cool spots. So I liked wrestling him. I think when it came time in the match for him to turn it around on me and beat my ass and get it back on me, because it's a final match of a tournament. You want to have that drama. He took his opportunities and he took them. He did what he had to do. He gave it to me, and that's impressive to me. Wrestling is so much more than just putting stuff together, going out and executing it. Now that's obviously such a huge part of wrestling now for so many people. There's some people that have no clue. They'd go out there and they'd be lost doing what something like me and Pinky did, going out there and just doing it on the fly. That's how me and Drew Gulak used to wrestle each other. And I could do that with someone like Anthony Green. Me and Anthony Green could go out. We don't even have to talk about what we're going to do for a fan. We'll just let it happen and figure it out when it happens.
Kind of a lost art.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, it's because everybody's so. And you can't always do it. It's a gamble. You got to be, and that's the thing. If you're going to do it, you got to be prepared to go all out if you have to, because you have to get that reaction, and then you got to ride it. You know what I mean? It takes practice. You got to have the balls to go out there and put yourself out there with nothing.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What are you going to say?
No, I was going to say, you were impressed with your opponents that you wrestled on your way to winning the Acid Cup, but you also said that you like being a fan, you like being ringside. Who else impressed you that you didn't get a chance, or that maybe you were seeing for the first time?
I like the kid Radrick. He was pretty good.
Cole Radrick?
Yeah, he really was. He was the first match, right? On the first night.
Yes.
Yeah. His strikes were really, really good. I thought maybe he did a little too much in some. I mean, now I don't want to talk about this stuff because then people will just be like, "What is he talking about? Too much." I just think he has got everything going on. He's really, really good. His execution is there, and all. I think if he just chisels the package a little bit, refines it, you know what I mean? And I think he's going to be
still really young.
He's only 22. I wasn't that good when I was 22, I don't think, at all. I was starting in Beyond Wrestling when I was probably that age, and I don't think my strikes or the way I put together matches, I was not like that at all. So he's way ahead of the curve. I thought he was really good. Shane Mercer's really gotten a lot better too. He's from the match we had at Beyond Wrestling to this match, I thought there was just a huge leap of improvement, and I think it just comes with understanding what you were supposed to do, how you should wrestle for, what your offense is, all that stuff. We can talk about it all day, but that's all stuff we were supposed to be talking about at the wrestling school. But yeah, I really was impressed with everybody. I thought everybody did a good job.
Cool. What have you been racking your brain as far as what you're going to do to keep saying in the off time?
Oh, they took away the fucking gym. I mean, that's I've been complaining for days. They've taken away everything, and I get it. I understand why, but I'm trying to just figure it out day by day of what I have to do to physically exert myself enough to to be able to like keep myself satisfied. I mean, obviously, I guess like fishing season's kind of like right around the corner. I bet you it's going to be like an incredible fucking fishing season, because either way, that's going to be like one of the only things to do. Fuck, I don't know, man. I'm doing like step up exercises on a park bench. I was gonna go to the park today and do pull ups, and I didn't go. It's like literally, that's where it's at. It's like I don't even know, man. It's been such a shell shock. I don't know. We talk about this all day, dude. You know.
But you know what the sad part is that the longer this goes on, unfortunately, the sad part is the more that you're going to get adjusted, and
I said this. Listen, I said this to Barnett today. Okay, this is literally the survival of the fittest. Think about it in just terms of wrestling. Wrestling is gonna come back. Okay,
I think so.
I could see a ton of guys getting wicked out of shape. Okay, I could see a lot of guys really. I mean, because this hurts me, man. Listen, I sat there for 2 days in that hotel room and ate nothing but Wawa and Wendy's. Like, I don't have. Where's the will to even want to be on a diet? Where's the will? Do I like? I literally am looking at a pair of 20-pound dumbbells on a floor, and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Well, you better do something. And like literally every day, I find myself saying to myself, and this is like what I said to Josh today. It's like, you better fucking try to take as much control of what you have left to control and forget about what you can't control. It's because you have to make sure that when the time comes, wrestling comes back, you are sharp, you are on point. Because I'm going to get called upon to go and do this, and that. And if I don't come out of this being like, I want to come out of this in better shape than I went in, even if they took the gym away, even if they did whatever. When it comes down to it, like, maybe I won't be as big looking or something, but like maybe I know I could push my endurance further, or I'll just keep trying to push myself every day to, first of all, to physically exert myself because I have so much energy and I've got nothing to do with it. And second of all, because I don't want to get out of shape. I'm not one of these guys where I have like a home gym. A fucking home gym. I live in New York City, man. My gym is my home. I spend my whole day there pretty much. It's like, I'm just trying to make sure that I stay on top of my shit, and I keep, and I you know what I said today, this whole thing is going to build a lot of character in a lot of people. Maybe this is something that this generation needed. Maybe this is something that we needed. Maybe this is, you got to look at at everything. I mean, there's nothing good about this, right? But there's got to be some good to come out of it. And that's where you have to look. It's because we've been talking for days. How many times am I going to type to you? What's the number one? It's over. It's done. It's over. It ain't fucking over. It ain't over. So,
I think two very important things is, one is, this is a seismic shift for everybody in the world right now. And I think that it's okay to take a little bit of time, to have a period of reflection, to chill for a little bit, and then come up with a game plan. And I'm not going to say that's a week, that's 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. Everybody's going to work it out on their own at a different pace. But I do think that people do need to have that time to be able to reflect on what's happening. The second part of that is coming up with a game plan. And like, to your point, you don't know when you'll be called upon to wrestle again, but the odds are pretty good that it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to stay sharp.
Yeah,
now,
people are
when you know that you have
people,
something.
People are firefighters. People are butchers. People are fucking rocket scientists. I'm a professional wrestler. There ain't no way you ain't like stopping me from pro wrestling. It's just the way it is.
No, but like you said earlier when we were talking, you had the motivation that you were going to go down to Tampa and wrestle some of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of all time, and that's what was pushing you.
Oh, yeah.
So now you have to push yourself without having, never mind the finish line, you don't even have the starting line. So
Listen,
that's going to take a mental adjustment.
I'll tell you what Tyson said today. He's my best friend. He's known me since I'm 7 years old. We came up in karate together. We went to the same dojo, the whole fucking deal. I personally, some people could just exist. I'm nothing without a goal. I need goals. I need goals constantly, whether it's like a small goal or a big goal or whatever. I like goals. I like knowing I'm going to, like, you know, I'm going to Tampa, whatever you said. I'm going to go wrestle all these guys. I got to have the best match on every show. I like preparing for things. And I'm a meticulous, creature with routines. Like, I've been in a sick routine of going to the gym in the morning and doing my cardio, and then I do my weights, and then I go do this. And when you're locked in like that, and then everything's just like done, it's hard for some people, especially if you're an athlete, you know. And I can imagine there's a million people going through this right now. Millions of athletes and people like me going through this right now, where their whole world is just turned upside down. My friend Dom, my training partner, he's going through it. Everybody's going through it. Everybody's going through it. And it's like you said, yeah, what is my goal? And like the joke I keep saying is, I said this to everyone, my family, I said it to Josh, I'm like, yo, am I going to be like fucking karate kicking somebody in the face over like a package of chicken breast in a couple weeks? Like, what is that it? Is this really it? And I'm just thinking today when I was training and I was getting my shit in at the park or whatever, I was thinking to myself, man, like, you got to just be ready. You just got to be ready. You got to be ready. Just be ready. That's it. What am I ready for? I'm ready to come back and just continue to be the best. That's it. That's all you could think about. You know, I have to be able to come back and just pick up exactly where I left off.
Well, let's wrap this one up. You got any parting words for maybe people, try and keep them in a positive mental space?
I think it's kind of like goes with what I was saying a couple of minutes ago. Try to see the positive parts of this and don't just look at it as a detrimental situation. I mean, this is pretty unprecedented. It's pretty horrible. We have a lot of responsibilities to ourselves and to our loved ones and to other people. We have responsibility to everyone to try and not spread this virus, whether it means, whatever you got to do, self-quarantine, whatever. But you're going to have a lot of time to think about things. You're going to have a lot of time to just go over this stuff in your mind. This is a time where you really could, there's definitely going to be things in this that you could find that are going to be positive, and they could affect your life in a good way going forward. And I think, like I said, that maybe this is something that this generation needed. One thing I really hope more than anything, I hate politics, and I hate the way politicians kind of divided people into social groups, and it became more and more intensified, and everybody's so separated in their own groups. I'm a liberal, I'm a conservative, I like that, and then that, and this, and everybody has their own agendas. Kind of like what we saw a little bit with 9/11. I just hope somewhat this brings people closer together. I know it's like technically supposed to separate everyone, but we're supposed to stay away from each other. But I just be a little bit more like compassionate towards other people. The hoarding and the craziness and the selfishness. I mean, obviously all these things are as to be expected in situations like this. This is a situation where you have to just like learn to just be a better person. Maybe if you're somebody that needs to maybe reflect on yourself or go through some shit that's gonna, like, I don't know, maybe change you for the better, try to look at this situation and like understand you got plenty of time to maybe go over that. I don't know, man. This whole thing's fucked up, but there's got to be some good to come of it. End of story.
Gotta, because we're people, right? All we can do is put our nose to the ground and push forward. That's what we put on this planet for.
I mean, there's no place to go but up from here. That's it.
Well, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for letting me record this. Rocking out in the basement. Tell Marianne I said hi.
I don't think I've ever seen you sit on the couch before.
No, it's killing my back. It's very unnatural for me.
Years. That's my couch.
What was the line from Alley Cat? You were the meaty man made by Marianne?
She said that? Yeah. Yeah, she kept calling out my mom.
Yeah. They go, hey man, we're lucky that we come from good families that are supportive,
Listen, that's
you know,
another
of what we're
that,
doing.
listen, that's another thing. Tyson said that to me today, and we're not alone. You know, we got good families, and I feel bad for the people that maybe don't have that. And you know, I was trying to explain to like my niece today. She was fucking complaining about something stupid like, "Mommy didn't get me the Dino Nuggets." I'm like, look at that chicken nugget. If you just look really hard, it looks like a rhinoceros. Like, you know, like I'm like, you're lucky you even got chicken nuggets to eat.
For real.
My mother, forget about it. My sister, my mother, it's just, I thank God for my family, you know. But yeah, I feel bad for the people that don't have that. It sucks.
Well, I do too, but that's one good thing about the internet, social media, and even the wrestling community is, you know, one of the reasons we've been so successful on holidays is that maybe it's not biological, but in a lot of ways it is a family. And we, like you said, I agree with you 100%. It's going to take unity. You know, we can't look at all of the different ways to categorize ourselves to divide us. Ultimately, we're all human. We all have the same susceptibility, you know, potentially getting and spreading this virus. God forbid. And that should be the type of thing. You know, we all have to be isolated, even if we are not physically face to face. Obviously, we're lucky that's happening in a day and age where, you know, we've got the technology that we can chew the fat for 30, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and still be able to connect and hopefully stay sane through this. So
Listen,
thank you again for taking the
listen.
time for
I
doing
got
this.
one last thing to say in closing, and like anybody watching this, if there's anybody that watches it, I mean, you know me personally. You know that I've been interested in conservation for a while. I'm, you know, into the outdoors and I go fishing and I'm conscious of things that go on with the earth. And, you know, I have a more respect for Mother Nature than the average person. I think everybody should really like understand that you cannot fuck with Mother Nature because at the end of the day, she's always going to win. Take a look around outside right now. Spring is happening. Shit's growing. The animals are all coming out. The bugs are going to start coming out. It's nothing's going to change. Let's say this virus had a higher mortality rate. We'd all be dropping dead, and the fucking flowers would still be growing. Things would still be happening here. You're never going to stop it. So I think like everybody lives in this world where they kind of forget that like the world around them is really what controls what goes on here. I mean, we live in the East Coast up here in the Northeast. We don't deal with earthquakes and tsunamis and, you know, heavy duty natural disasters. We get the hurricanes sometimes. You know, we're not in that part of the world where we're dealing with stuff like that. So maybe we don't have enough respect for it as much as we should. But something like this is, yeah, does man have something to do with why maybe it's caused? Sure, but at the end of the day, it's nature. It's nature. So I think everybody really should have a lot more respect for Mother Nature, especially after this. Just be conscious of the fact that like something like this could happen, and there's nothing you could do about it, but like basically sit in a room and not go out and see anyone like that. And what caused it? Well, Mother Nature. You know, everybody has to have a little bit more respect for the earth.
Cool. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, man. Hope you stay sane. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, I'll probably talk to you in like 2 minutes. Bye.
Have a
Bye.
good